Rachel Finn, and I'm a third-year MFA student here.
And I'm Maxwell Bowman, and I'm also a third-year MFA student here. And Rachel did this fine set we're sitting on right now.
And Max did the lights.
We helped each other out.
So tell everybody a little bit about the process that goes into building this set from start to finish.
Yeah, we were assigned the assignment in May. Sounds about right. So I think a lot of it back then was just kind of, reading the opera, listening to it, just kind of simple things like that, and then just kind of spending the summer just to kind of ruminate on it. I think a good way to put it.
We met with Hank, the director, I think, when we started, and really started talking kind of about the things that he had in mind, and he had some really strong ideas, and I think there were ideas that Max and I and Caitlin, who did the costumes, were all really inspired by right off the bat. And so, at least for me, for the set, I didn't go through a lot of edits. We sort of knew right away what we wanted, like a very bold, elegant, big, clean, and we were playing with this monochromatic black and white and gray with some soft pastels. It's kind of like a color palette for the whole show. And then, and so since we sort of decided on that, it's just been minor edits and changes to kind of what we could accomplish within our budget and time-wise and labor-wise. But
yeah, I think a lot of it was that we had a solid kind of idea of what we wanted to do, and then more was trying to mesh that with kind of the reality of kind of the situation.
Yeah.
So we always dream of the moon at first, and what if the set was built out of a pure gold, and white ivory, and then we settle back down to earth, and
hey!
No, see, you don't get to talk it off. We don't want to hear about costumes.
Do you want Caitlin to talk? She's here.
What are y'all doing?
We are being famous. I don't know what you are doing.
Leave us.
Yes, I don't. Sorry, the important designers will now speak. I don't need you
Nobody
to.
wants to hear about lighting.
It's fine. You can have a chair if you want.
No.
You'll stand in
behind us.
Stand in a creepy
family portrait.
Okay, so introduce yourself and.
Okay, introduce yourself.
I'm Caitlin Rain. I'm a third-year graduate designer, and I did the costumes, designed the costumes for Marriage at Figaro.
So when did your process start? That's what they asked us.
Oh, back in August. Met with Hank first back in August.
Oh, we said May.
You said that. Edit. So when did you start your process here at SMU on this opera?
On this opera?
On this opera.
In May.
There you go.
Well, we've heard a lot about the set design, so tell us a little bit more about costume design and what your vision was there.
Well, the initial impulse came from Hank himself. He was really interested in doing something with a very minimal color palette, and we eventually settled on black and white with touches of rose and peach and pink in there, just sort of little hints where it would be most evocative, we hope. And I like to think they look pretty striking on this all-white set.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It seems like the three of you guys have worked together before. So what other projects would Meadows people know you from?
Rachel and I, actually Caitlin too, we all worked on Vanya.
Uncle Vanya,
last
which was
season.
all of us, it was our first design. No, you had designed it.
Yes, I did.
Prior to that. Yeah. Rachel and I have worked on the Striker
Last year.
and on the upcoming, which you should see, Big Love.
Which is in February.
Yes, and then Rachel and I both worked on Othello last November, and then we're here again, and she can still stand me, so she puts up with me.
It's sort of a little team.
Yeah.
We work pretty well together.
So for this production specifically, what was the biggest challenge with the set?
Well, it's big. You've got 22 high-foot walls. We've got so for lighting, everything has to either come from above or out here. Our side lighting, which we would normally use, is kind of limited. But the perk about it being a wide set is then we can use the set to light itself, where we just kind of let the light bounce around in the set and kind of let it do most of the hard work.
Yeah. It's, anytime, we don't use this space, the Bob-Hope Theater, very often. Or at least the theater department doesn't, because they don't like how far away the audience is from kind of the action. But it's kind of an awesome space to design in because it's essentially like a runway for costumes and just a huge space for sets, and it has lots of opportunities for lighting. But it's also got a lot of challenges with masking, and since we have so many lights and we kind of had to put them everywhere.
Yeah.
We've kind of, as we've gone, put more and more masking in where we can get it, and kind of had to adapt to the space because it's not a space that we worked in a lot, and it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, and the goal is with the lighting is that no one likes to see kind of how the sausage is made. So we try to a certain extent to make it all seem magical.
What a metaphor.
Well, yeah, no, metaphor. So with the same, so we have to try to hide ourselves and kind of how we're doing stuff as quickly as possible. So we've got a huge giant statue that flies in, and that kind of has to not be seen. We got all these chandeliers, and this whole wall moves off, and I mean it's a lot of stuff that we kind of had to find ways to make look magical but still actually make them work.
Okay, so last thing is for each of you guys to give everybody watching one reason to come to the show. Got to pick one.
The singing.
There is-
I think singing. I mean, the singing. I mean, the talent on this stage is absolutely phenomenal. So I think that's. I mean, in my opinion, yes, all the designs that we did are fantastic. But the number one thing is the people on stage standing there singing.
Sound phenomenal, and I confess, not being a new to opera loving, I was delighted and surprised by how much I enjoyed it, how invested and excited I am
Sat
every time
through
I see
it
it.
like 8, 10, I don't know, a lot.
Yeah.
And normally at this point in theater production, I am bored to tears of whatever the play is. But I honestly really enjoy watching this every night. It's hilarious. They're all incredibly lively. It's beautiful to look at.
So yeah, buy your seats now. They're going fast.